Hey everyone, we're going to continue the analogy of the interior of your house being your life. And today we're going to look at the self room. What is the self room? It is where our relationship with ourself lives. It is the intricacies of our character, our likes, dislikes, our thoughts, feelings, spiritual experiences, our essence, our pain, our joy, trauma, our dreams, our purpose, everything that makes up who we are. It is how we relate to each of these parts of us. The self room also has a closet that holds the experiences that we are ashamed of, our traumas, and the things that we've repressed, but we will discuss that later. This is the most important room in the house. We are the creator of our own lives. We have the capacity to choose and to change the direction of our life. Those choices we make stem from the self room. If that room is invaded by other people's opinions, then we will choose a life according to those opinions, rather than what we truly want. When we've been alienated from ourselves, our self-room is in disarray. But in a more positive light, because it is our self-room, we have choice and dominion over it. We can clear out the mental clutter that exists there and live a life that is congruent with our deepest self. We are relational creatures, and that also means we need to relate to ourselves. In this room is where we meet ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, exploring who we are and who we desire to be. The location of this room is in the center of the house. Now, even by saying that, it might bring up some internal hesitation, whether that's because of personal beliefs or potential religious affiliation. If you've noticed that these barriers within you have come up, I want you to be curious when considering the self room in the center of the house. Part of creating a new you is suspending judgment in order to facilitate curiosity in exploring new ideas. Let's look again at the self room as the center of the house. Now, why do we set it at the center? Because the center of the house is like the core of the earth. If the hot core of the earth did not exist, the earth would be cold, desolate, and would not be able to sustain life. Us not being the center of our life is like the earth without a core. We are detached, desolate, and lifeless. That's why when we don't like ourselves, we feel like our lives are meaningless. What we do, how we show up in the world, how we respond and interact with others starts in the self room. Some of us don't like ourselves and don't desire to spend time alone. This is because our relationship with ourselves is broken. While others of us enjoy our own company and don't allow things into our lives that take too much energy for no return. We are confident and genuinely love ourselves, not in a self-absorbed way. Each room in this house denotes a relationship to something, whether it is your work, hobbies, or health. The self room is no different. This is about the relationship that we have with ourself. Now, you might not be sure how the condition of your self room is. So here are a series of questions that you can ask yourself. What happens when you sit at home alone doing nothing for even just 10 minutes? Do you feel like you always need to be doing something or talking to someone? How do you talk to yourself? Are you kind, judgmental, ruthless? How do you feel around other people? Are you confident, anxious, self-conscious, at ease? How do you respond to praise? How do you respond to criticism? How would you describe yourself? What makes you unique? If you met someone just like you, would you get along? Would you want to be around that person? Would you want to spend time with them? This is not an exhaustive list of questions, but it is a good place to start to think about what your self room looks like and what your relationship with yourself looks like. Now, the important first step of this is to take inventory of this room. This will take longer than other rooms because often there are hidden things that we don't know about ourselves that we haven't fully uncovered yet. There will also be the closet, which we don't want to open, but we will need to, but we won't want to. Do your best to figure out what exists in this self room, the things you like about yourself, the things you dislike, all of these intricacies of yourself. Now, be open to those things changing. Be open to the idea that You don't have a complete view of yourself. We're just at the beginning here. We will be working on this the rest of our lives. Next week, we will talk more about the self room. I think this is something we're going to have to dig a lot deeper into, and this idea will develop over time. But for now, I want you to look into what that self room looks like. Do you actually like being in there? Do you actually like spending time with yourself? I want you to note that when you're going through this and you don't really like that self room, that you have the choice to change that. And I'm not saying change yourself to being someone you're not, but accepting who you are and working on yourself and uncovering pieces of yourself and making yourself feel congruent, that this is possible, that it is something that is meant for you, that you deserve to feel that way. I just want to give you some reassurance that your life doesn't have to feel this difficult. You don't have to have such a broken relationship with yourself. All right, I will see you next week, and we will talk more about this because I think it is very important. We kind of need to dive deeper and deeper into this, and I hope you enjoyed it.